to this computer. All right, so welcome to the Forge Coffee Break. This is the episode number 47, right? If I'm reading this right. And thank you for joining today. As usual, this is a very open space for general topics and what you are doing with Forge, all the the questions you may have, and also to discuss with colleagues and other people that are also using Forge. And I was just having some pre-meeting talk with pre-coffee break talk with Najelko. So let me hand over to you, Najelko. So you said I have having some trouble with the automation, right? So like, can you explain to us?
Yes, the trouble was with the speed, but that was not trouble with Forge. There's a trouble with my machine, local, and when I start testing some my bundle in Inventor, I found that job will take roughly 2 minutes and should be repeated 5 times. It means the client should be wait 10 minutes. But when I tested on the Forge, everything was incredible. Roughly 40 seconds is need to complete job. So when you start to create that piece of furniture, you just need to wait 40 seconds, and after that you will get a complete documentation for the manufacturing. So congratulations for that.
Okay, sorry, I'm misunderstood. So you said that locally it was taking almost 10 minutes, but on the cloud it's taking 40 seconds. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's even better then. It's interesting because when you run design automation, right, you're running just the engine. So there is less burden of the interface to run. And we have a very, very powerful machine as well. So that speeds up the process, right? So it's faster to run with a high-end machine on design automation. Cool, impressive.
Yeah.
And I see some faces and names that I haven't seen for a while. Welcome back. If you're joining for the first time, welcome. Any other topic that you'd like to bring up? Let me share a couple of things that we are doing here. So this week we started the beta for Fusion Data. So I'm sharing here the Fusion blog. The blog about it. Fusion Data API is now in beta, and I think the interesting piece about that API is it's using GraphQL. So if I scroll down here, you see that it's using GraphQL. So it's interesting. I'm learning about that as well, about the benefits of GraphQL. And one of the main one is that you decide what data you want to get, right, from the system. So it's much more flexible to adjust your workflow. And that's now going on beta. And here's the blog post. I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but yeah, good news. Anyone using or planning to use Fusion Data? As you're using Inventor, I guess you'll probably be using Fusion at some point.
Yes, I'm a lot of using the Fusion because it's incredible for the small assemblies or single parts. It's incredible for works, but that will be new experience because I'm waiting for a long time for some API for Fusion generally, but that will be excellent. And now that is in beta release, just in testing period. Yeah?
Well, beta means that we're still gathering feedback, and that's the best chance for you to, or any one of you, right, to start using the API. And if you have feedback for us to improve it, just send us the feedback. We're going to review and analyze all of that. So the beta period is about gathering feedback and making sure that what we're doing is exactly what you need from the API.
Okay, I'll try it.
Cool. Adam, you did most of the samples, right? I'm trying to remember. You did Fusion.
Yeah.
And Dennis did the data exchange, the initial samples and review. So that was also released, I think, a month ago. They're very similar, but not the same area, right? Fusion Data and FD or data exchange. It's all about how can we read the data. Data exchange is using REST APIs, not GraphQL, and it's really about getting the data to have on your models and sharing between all the devices. And you can be one of those devices accessing the data that is hosted on the cloud for that subset of the model, the data that you're exchanging with someone else. Not sure if you have used this one. People are very quiet today. So data exchange as well, and those are the main things from our side. Any other questions or topics from you? That is the chance, folks, to ask questions.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Bowen.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
so
go ahead.
One of the things that I've noticed is that is it okay if I share my screen?
Yeah, definitely. Let me stop sharing. Go ahead.
Okay. So something that I found here is it seems like a few years ago, a couple of people from Autodesk started making all these really great bits of code for the Forge viewer. And like the window selection, for me, it seems like that'd be really great for, clash detection in BIM 360 to be able to select multiple elements without having to click every single one of them. Why is it decided that some of these features will be integrated and some of them won't be integrated as the standard Forge viewer tools?
So first, it's always about feedback from you, right? So what you believe is important or not, and what we are hearing from customers, right? So the viewer team, it's constantly doing customer research and gathering those feedbacks. I would say that now I'm guessing that this kind of this specific one selection that you are showing here did not came up as part of those research, which it's interesting because we are always conducting research with customers, and if you would like to be part of that, we'd like to hear from you what are the workflows that you are interested in. So no, that answers the questions why this feature is not part of the viewer. Maybe the second part of the question is what you're looking for is how can I use this kind of extension, or if you need a different kind of extension for you. We are always writing samples and creating new notes, blog posts and articles like that. And usually a sample and a blog post is for a smaller group, right? If it's a feature, it's for a bigger group, right? So if there is anything that you'd like us to write a sample or write more and describe better, right? We can always prepare that as well. So yeah, anyway, just provide us feedback, ask questions, so we can do better, closer to what you're looking for.
Sure. So we actually have a Teams channel for our company. It's called BIM 360 Development Requests. So we actually write down all the different things that we're like, oh, this would be really great to have. The tricky part about it is that kind of the common practice has been to push these things up to the forum and try to get some kind of upvote in the community, but I don't know how much the community actually upvotes on these, or if they do upvote, how quickly they turn around and get implemented. Is there a better way to interact with the viewer team?
Yeah. So can I share again? Let me just show you this one here. So at the blog as well, right? There is one blog about survey, right? So so that's one thing. You can always join one of the surveys and provide your feedback. But if you want to go deeper, and I see that they have a list of suggestions, right? Can we book some time with you to understand what you're looking for and discuss more with you?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so send me a message to forge.help@autodesk.com. Just mentioning this, that we would like to get some time with the research team, and we are going to book with you and hear from you and see what you're working with. But no, keep in mind that when we gather those requests, right, we always have to make them generic enough, have to hear from all the other customers also using similar things, so you can narrow down to a product feature. But yeah, it's always good to hear from customers. So please send us a message, forge.help@autodesk.com, and I'm going to arrange that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Augusto.
And to your question, to relate to your question, right? We try to gather some of the extensions we write, and those extensions are really, so now it's not part of the product, it's part of the Forge as Forge viewer, and how can you customize that if you're creating a new application. So those are completely different things, right? So just before I go there, you can have a new feature in BIM 360 that will not be exposed as a Forge component, or it can be exposed, right? So just to give a very concrete example, there is a markup feature inside BIM 360, but that same markup feature is not available as the viewer, just because the product feature, not a platform feature. So we have to make some decisions here as well. Now, maybe some of the requests you have are part of the BIM 360 feature, and we do have some extensions on how to mimic some of that. So if you decide to do it, you can do it. So here on this library of samples, we have some of those, right? So if you click on one of the models, and that selection view can come here as well, but it's not here yet. Let's say transformation, right? So if I click on an element, how can I apply some basic movement on my model? So this is just showing you how to do some of that. And this is a sample with source code, and everything is available in GitHub on how to do this. So you can definitely add and create more extensions or samples for this library that you can then reuse the sample to your own application.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions or topics? This extension library is quite
hello.
Yes. Oh, hi, Moses.
Hi, I was just going to say that coming out of the last boot camp, online boot camp, and this is actually a expression of gratitude. It was a great boot camp. I really enjoyed it. This time I did the .NET side. I'm a little bit biased towards .NET now. And I did struggle with the design automation with the ngrok, setting up the local server. It turned out I did shoot an email to Forge support, and they got back to me and they found that there was a missing dash in one of the commands for setting up the ngrok. And lo and behold, I added a dash like they suggested, and it worked.
Oh,
and
cool.
so they said that there was some pardon me?
The header, right? The header parameter. It should be dash header. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be dash, but I think on the documentation, it's just one dash, and it won't work if you do that. So I was trying to hack my way with an Apache server, but it turns out I don't. Yeah, there's supposed to be 2 dashes there, and then it'll work. It won't work with 1 dash. But they got back to me like really quick and explained that it was missing a dash, and so I'm gonna practice some more and finally kind of complete that design automation step.
Okay, glad it was resolved. And I'm curious. Sorry, yes, Hussein?
I'm the one who responded to that. I believe the issue was that we are using the latest ngrok. So for the latest ngrok, you have to put a double dash, but for the previous version, you have to use a single hyphen. So that was the problem. So we need to update our.
That was my suspicion, right? So that's the challenge when you do a tutorial that is based on tools that are always changing. So I remember that this tutorial worked for years, right? And now it's not working. Maybe the tool changed it. So, but yeah, glad we catch it, and I would just have to adjust here. The thing about ngrok is that every time that we run this tutorial, people will always download the latest version, right? And it changes. But yeah, thank you, Moses, for spotting the problem. Thank you, Harun, for fixing it. Yeah, we are always improving the tutorials. So Brian is asking if there will be another bootcamp. So first, we did record the bootcamp, and we will be available soon on the blog. So we're going to share all the records. We're just doing some cleanup, and we try to run this bootcamp twice a year. But so that said, the bootcamp it's really just running the tutorials. So this tutorial that I'm showing here, learn4.autodesk.io. We're just running the tutorial live with you, and you can always do that yourself and ask questions if you have anything, if you have any questions. But no, it runs twice a year, and we expect to run it again around AU time frame, which will be September. So let's see, but we don't have a date yet. But that's the idea. But you can always do that online anytime on the Learn4 website.
Well, we still have to migrate the DA tutorial anyway to the new site. So.
Yeah. So that's the tutorial we have today. That's the one that is going on for a few years. And this last bootcamp, we used a new version that we are working with, and eventually they will convert to be just one version. We are just in this stage where we have two versions, the old and the new one. Eventually it will just be the new one, and the address will be the same, learn4.autodesk.io. But this new version is, well, as you may imagine, libraries are changing all the time, tools, and even the Forge APIs, right? So that's why keeping the tutorial simpler to make it better for you, rewriting all the tutorials. And the new version is just simpler, right? And easier for you to focus on Forge and focus on in this case, as the first tutorial is about the viewer, how can you better focus on the viewer and give you and help you there. But yeah, that's the new version if you want to try it, but eventually that will be just one link for both versions. Or just one version, sorry, just the new version. Good point, thank you, Adam. Right. Any questions or topics?
I have another question. I don't know if this is okay to ask, but what's coming down the pipeline for model coordination in BIM 360 as far as new features?
Well, luckily we have the BIM 360 Queen here. Hi, Mikako.
Hi. So it looks like I joined at the right timing.
Yes, you always do.
Yeah, so could you repeat the roadmap for the model coordination and then BIM collaboration?
That's correct. Just what's on the roadmap?
For API or product?
Product.
Product, okay. That product side, I don't pay attention, frankly speaking. I usually keep eyes on API side, so I don't really know. But from model coordination side, thinking about it, the model coordination team is API first, and that's we know. So we recently released the API, so-called model properties. And this one is used in BIM Collaborate for the comparing two versions, which what do they call version analysis or change analysis. So there is one, and then model coordination also. You can easily imagine that model coordination side, if you look at the crash, you may get 5,000 crash, and it's not manageable. So the way we have the UI right now is, finding by, the filtering by structure type and things like that. So they are right now using old indexing one to do that, but they are planning to adapt more powerful this model properties API. So my expectation is that they will have a better UI to manage those crashes.
Sounds
And
great.
then, yes, that's great. So, you know, I really like the idea of this. I mean, everybody in this call probably like the idea of API first, right? So that's one thing. And then another thing is they are focusing on the filling a gap between glue and model coordination, which also you can easily understand. So they already told us they are slowing down API and pushing out API at this point, and then fill the gap between glue the one. So this during the summer, it's not entire 1 week, 1 year roadmap, but during the summer, they did told us that we can focus on reviewing other API so that they can focus on the glue ones. But again, since they are API first, if there is some product feature added and not accessible through the API might follow that. Yeah, so that's another. So again, sorry for I don't know the product side, but from BIM Collaborate side, they are planning to have an API for access to packages. And then also we have a wish to do the automating this setting. Right now, when you try to define the theme, you have to go through the UI. We can't do it by API. So creating those teams in terms of BIM Collaborate, that's also the roadmap. So if you have a specific wish, feel free to send it to me, especially the BIM Collaborate. We don't really hear much wish in this area. So I would be interested in hearing that.
Sure. Yeah, we're working pretty heavily with the Clash tool on BIM Collaborate. We just recently finished a little piece of code. I'm not a coder, but we wrote a piece of Dynamo, and it goes ahead and it calculates the intersection point between elements using bounding boxes. And we're trying to load that into Power BI and assign these clashes to rooms so we can understand where we're having the most clashes per room.
Cool.
So we're trying to use that data a little bit better. And so we're always really excited because there's a lot of things, right? Like if you have 6,000 pipes going through a floor, you could eventually start creating plugins saying, hey, it looks like the bounding box for this element, is 60 feet tall, but only 6 inches by 6 inches wide. It's a pipe. It looks vertical to us and it's going through a floor. Here are all of those clashes that we found. Do you want to go ahead and just approve all of them at the same time? And things like that we're looking at to be able to use our data analytics to actually resolve the clash rather than the user interface.
That's exactly what the model coordination, model properties API is aiming at. Yeah, perfect.
Great, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Bowen. Thank you, Mikako. Yeah, I see that the point of having getting more feedback from you and customers in general is always important for us. And yeah, Bowen, if you can we can definitely get some time to hear more from you. I'm very curious about that list you just showed us.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I'll send out that email.
Cool. All right, thank you. Any other questions or topics? We are running an accelerator this week, virtual one as well. Anyone here that is coming from the accelerator?
Hey, just a quick question about the piping in the rooms. Have you tried Tandem yet? Tandem has this ability to sort of filter on a room, and you can see systems going in and out of the room.
I have not tried Tandem yet.
Yeah, if when you send that email, it might be worth checking out. But it's really simple. You just sign up for Tandem, use the same Autodesk account. You can click on the when you load in files, there's a button that says, connect to BIM 360 or ACC, and then your files from the project will appear, and then that'll just pull the models in, and then you'll see a list of spaces. There's a filter for spaces.
Mhm.
And you can just click on a room, and then it'll just highlight all of the objects that go in and out of that room. You can do some colorization and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. We're actually working on one of the owners for the projects that we're working on wants to do a VR walkthrough of every single room. It's a religious building, and so the finishes are really important to them. And I'm kind of stuck because I don't want to really go out and buy third-party software to do it. But Navisworks, we have so many models in there, it's just having a hard time loading all of them. And then when we use model collaboration to load in all the 29 models that we have, we can't take the views. You know how when you export out an NWC from Revit, it'll
You get
take
views.
you get views, right? But you can't put those views into model collaboration. You can save an NWD into BIM 360 and all the views go with it, which is nice. But then, if I want to create an issue, it stays tied to that file, and so then I can't view it in my overall model coordination view. And I'm kind of slamming my head against the keyboard right now, trying to figure out what to do for that. And I don't know if Tandem would be a good solution for something like that.
And
you still want to export. Sorry, you still want to bring this into a VRC now, right?
We're actually not going to do a VR anymore. We looked into it, and it's tricky. The VR software this is a tangent. We use Enscape, which is great, but it doesn't load anything that's not a Revit or an IFC file. We've got a couple of people modeling in CAD. There's other software like VREX that will load all of them. They do have a price tag associated to it. Our owner pushed back. They're like, hey, can't we do it with the tools that we already have? And so I know that you guys have like alpha testing for VR and stuff like that, which is great, but we're trying to figure out what works best. And if that's just flying through the model without a virtual reality headset, then so be it. But we're trying to figure that out right now.
Okay. Yeah, I've got some ideas. And the source files, are they from Navisworks? They're a mixture of Revit and IFC and AutoCAD files. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, we've got stuff coming from Tekla, from HydroCAD, from AutoCAD, and from Revit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I've got some ideas there. Maybe you can just use Model Properties API. I'll put my thinking cap on there. Tandem does not do Navisworks files. That's just a limitation.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll take a look at Tandem and see what we can't do. We're looking for a good way to manage issues across the board, right? And I think that's been one of the tricky things is the issues right now tied to a model. And I don't know if there's a way to liberate them from that. If there's a way that you can make them agnostic in the sense of they don't care what model they're tied to, they just have an XYZ point and a title and a description, or if that's taboo / passe.
Yeah, no, that's definitely possible. The issues that we create in like BIM 360 or ACC, they have an object associated with them, but they also have just an XYZ position, and you can pull that out.
You can pull out the object, like remove it.
Oh,
What can we pull out the object?
Yeah,
remove it from the view.
Well, so how do I say this? So like if I'm flying through an NWD model in Navisworks, right, that is not pulling all the model coordination stuff. It's another model from somebody else's thing. It's not necessarily tied to. It would be nice if they could load in the coordination issues without them being tied to a model, or that there's a toggle like, hey, we're just going to show you all the stuff related to your model, and there's a toggle up there. It's like, no, actually show me all the issues, and it turns them all on because you can extract the XYZ points. That's not an issue, but then it's just representing them without having them be bound to an object, because when they bind to an object, then we have this issue with Revit where we use a container file sometimes to export out NWCs, but then if we send them to the architect and they try to load them up in their Revit model, it won't work because we're exporting out the architect's view from our container model. So you can only view the issues assigned to the architecture model that's coming from our container model within our container model. So if the architect wants to view it in context within their original model, the linked design model, they can't because it's bound to our container Revit model.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Got it. Yeah.
So I
We can,
think
it's definitely doable. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's better to get some time to really go deep on that. And yeah, looking forward to your message. And just because I'm really sorry about the time, the 30 minutes of this coffee break, but yeah, please contact us, Bowen. Or maybe I can just look at your email here and send you a message.
Sure. Yeah, no,
great.
I'm just drafting up the email right now, so I'll send it over to you guys.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
So with that, we're just ending today's coffee break. The next will be in 2 weeks, same time, same link. And that's it. Thank you very much for joining today. See you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.